Welcome to the Army Empire Podcast, your go-to podcast for insightful tips on investment strategies, entrepreneurship, and all things money matters. Join Bernard Alerte, your guide on this journey to financial freedom. Each episode will dive into expert advice, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your financial future. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned investor, we've got something for everyone. So get ready to unlock your financial potential and make your money work for you. And now, let's welcome your host, Bernard Alerte.
Here we are again.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Bernard?
Very exciting. Very excited. Today's a big day for the whole country, I guess, right?
I know. Like, what are we doing?
Yes, yeah, it's crazy. It's a big day. You know, a lot of people nervous. I get calls here and there, but I tell everyone, listen, God's in control, so nothing to worry about.
That is correct. That is correct. So if you're watching the replay, it is election day tonight,
Yes.
and yeah, it's been a wild one, but we are here and we're staying the course. We're going to ask that you like, that you share, and that you comment and let us know that you are here and you are ready. Like our friend right here, he is so ready. Alistair's ready to join us and take notes. Listen, I have my pen and paper. I never come on without taking notes, and because there's just always a wealth of knowledge that we receive during the Army Empire podcast. So what's the topic? What's the topic today?
The topic today is something called it means a lot to me, something special to me, because I remember on the first episode we talked about when I've been in business about 26 years in the financial field, and I remember when I talked about in the first episode that when I first saw, like, I guess I was looking at getting the financial field, and one of the things that we saw that was showed to me really struck me. There's two things. There's two slides that I saw to this day. I think shook me to my core back then. Even now, it still amazes me when I hear it. I think I went over the last slide, the pie chart. Last we talked about 100 people that work from 25 to 65, where most are at 65, and that one really struck me. But the second slide that really, really struck me was something called the Rule of 72, right? And such a powerful rule. And people ask, well, where does that rule come from? The Rule of 72 was created by a mathematician back actually in the 1500s, okay? Like centuries ago, 1500s. And I think it was an Italian mathematician, and they wanted to find out how long does it take your money to double? How long does an investment to double? Even back then, how long does it take to double? So Rule 72 in layman terms kind of shares with you, listen, it's a banking rule that banks, insurance companies, financial companies know about money, but they never teach us, right?
Yeah.
In very simple layman terms, it says, listen, if you take the interest rate that either you're saving or investing your money in, if you divide that into the number 72, it will tell you how many years it takes your money to double, right? Because think about the things we question. We all of us put our money in different places, but we never think, listen, if I put my money there, how fast is my money going to grow, right? Mm-hmm. What's going to happen? So this tells you exactly how fast your money grows, right? Let's look at the next slide, right? And if you look at it, right, think about it, right? Let's say there's three different places to put your money, right? Let's say you have three different individuals. One individual they all have $10,000. They all start with the same $10,000, right? One individual puts their money at a 3% rate of return. The second column, they get a 6% rate of return. And a third, they get a 12% rate of return, right? Let's take a look at 3%. The Rule of 72 shares rate, if you take the interest rate, right? So if you have 3%, if you divide 3 into 72, your money will double every 24 years. So if you have $10,000 sitting somewhere, it'll take you 24 years for your money to double from 10,000 to 20,000, and another 24 years to turn to 40,000. Now, that's a long time for your money to double. Would you agree with me, Liz?
Yes.
Exactly. Because how many 24-year time frames do we have in our lives? 1, 2, if we're lucky, if you think about it, right? Exactly. So that's one way. So let's say if you double your interest rate to 6%, you get a 6% rate of return on your money. If you divide to 6 into 72, your money doubles every 12 years. 10,000 or 20 year, 20, 40, 80, 160, a lot better, right? But still not quite, right? So let's take a look at 12%. At a 12% rate of return, your money will actually double every 6 years.
Yep.
That's the same 10,000 double to 20, 40, 81, right? All the way down for the same 48 time frame to $2.5 million.
That's so crazy.
That's crazy. Because think about it. Where do most of us put our money? Most of us put our money in institutions like banks, right? Where like checking accounts, savings account, money market, a credit union, or CDs, we call certificate of disappointment, right? CDs where you're getting, right, or depreciation, one or the other, right? So think about it. You get a 1% interest on your money. That's what more. So if you divide 1 into 72, your money actually doubles every 72 years. Your money never grows, right? That's why if you ever look at your savings account, right, you get a statement and you're getting pennies on a dollar, it's like it's not growing, right? See, here's a challenge. When you put your money in a bank, they don't let it sit there with your name on it, right? They actually take your money and they invest your money, right? And they're getting 10, 12, a high return on your money. And guess what? They're giving you a little bit. So people ask people, listen, what's the difference between 3% and 12%? She said, well, that's 9%. No, that's almost $2 million, $2.5 million difference.
When you put it like that, absolutely.
Exactly. So the reason I'm sharing that rule 7 because it's very important to understand, to have your money work for you, is to be very aware. How is my money growing? Is my money working for me? Because if you don't get your money to work for you, you're gonna work hard for money for the rest of your life. Right? Yeah. So it's so important to be able for us to understand, to make sure we get best rate of return on money, right? So people ask me all the time, where can you get 12%, Bernard? Is that guaranteed? How does that work? Let's look at the next slide. Let's look actual investments, right? Actual, I cannot say different returns, right? Let's take a look at it, right? If you look at the growth, the rate of return is the key. If you look at a growth of a $10,000 investment, right? Let's say if someone invests from December 1993 to December 2023, right? Let's look at from the bottom now. Now, there's 3 things that affect your money, which is taxation, inflation, and market fluctuation. 3 things that affect your money. Now, inflation affects your money. Now, let's say you're getting 2.52% inflation average from 1993, right, to 2023. The rate of inflation been average about 2.52%, right, for the past 30 years, right? I mean 40 years. That's 40 years, right? 30 years. That's 30. I'm sorry, 30 years, right? So that $10,000 invested, right, because of inflation, will only be worth $21,000. That means what you used to buy for $10,000 in 1993 will actually cost you inflation $21,000. Okay, you see that, right? Now, if you look at 30-day Treasury bills, it's been averaging about 2.29%, right? So the same 19,000. You see that, right? Bonds been averaging 4.41% for that same time frames. That's $36,000, right? And bond from 10,000, right? Let's look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500, which investment average 10.1%. For the same, right, 30 years. So that same 10,000 would have grown to $181,000 plus for that same time frame, right? Now, what kind of return do you need to reach your goals? So it's so important for us to truly understand how to get our money work for us, right? Now, people ask me, well, does that 10% guaranteed every single year? Absolutely not. It's not guaranteed. But if you look at the average rate of return for a time frame, there's highs and lows, right? It fluctuates a little. It fluctuates. But if you look at for a period of time, you would average about 10% rate of return over that period of time. Okay. So it's so important. Now people say, well, should I put all my money? No, you should not put all your money. And we talked about last week, there's 3 kinds of what? There's 3 places you put your money. we talked about a lot last week, right? There's short-term emergency, right? There's short-term, and also there's long-term wealth, right? Now we talk about for a long period of time now. It's so important for us to understand that for a long period of time, you need to have your money work hard for you.
Yes.
Makes sense, right?
Yes.
So that is so important. I mean, people that get nervous, I'm afraid of the market goes up and market goes down, but over a period of time, you actually win in the long run with the market, right?
Sure.
And there's no guarantees. I always say there's no guarantee. If anyone that tells you, again, that's they can guarantee you 10%, 15%, 20%, they're not, run away from them. They're not telling the truth. There's no investment out there that can guarantee you a 10% guaranteed every single year.
And you said that to us before in a previous episode. You did say that before. So the things that we need to look, the things that affect our money is inflation, taxation, and market
fluctuation. Yes.
So, okay. Perfect.
Market fluctuation. Absolutely.
Wow.
Right. So absolutely. So let's look at let's look at, for example, sometimes I have people, Bernard, I can't afford to have, I don't like fluctuation. I like guarantees. I want guarantees. I love guarantees. Okay. So let's take a look at it, right? If you see, are you earning a guaranteed loss? Let's take a look at it, right? If you have the same $10,000, if you're getting 1.5% interest, you say, you know what? I want to keep that money in the bank, right? Now, if it's for short term, yes. But if it's for long term, you're hurting yourself, okay? If you have a $10,000, you're getting a 1.5% interest at your local bank, right? Now, let's take a look. You earn about, you look $150 in interest for the year. That's how much you earn in interest for the year. Now, whenever you have money in a savings account or money in this institution, you have to pay something called a 1099. You have to pay taxes on the earned, right? So let's say average 22% taxes. So you'll actually pay $33 in taxes.
Yeah.
On top of it. So your net earnings are $117, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which the resulting balance would be about what? $10,117. But let's say if inflation was 5%, like last year, inflation past was kind of very high, right? So if inflation is 5%, so your buying power will be reduced to $9,635.
Yeah.
So you actually lost money. You actually lost buying power in the process. So never underestimate inflation, right? Your money has to work. Listen, short-term money, like money for day-to-day activity, yes, you keep it there.
Right.
Yeah, but if you have short-term, let's say money for like 5 years, you keep for 3 to 5 years, or long-term, you need to have the money work for you. You need to find better places to have your money work, because there's other better vehicles out there where your money can grow for you for a period of time. Makes sense to be able to do that. So
yes.
Let's look at the last one. Right? It seems kind of small, right? But let me share with you exactly what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much tells you the power, the time value of money, right? That's why I always tell, listen, when I come across someone that's young, I say, listen, save and invest your money as soon as possible. Let's look at how power compound works, right? If you were 22 years old, Liz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say I'm 22 years old, you start putting $7,000 a year, okay? And you did that from the time you're 22 years old, right, to about 29 years old. So 22 years old to 29, say, you know what, I'm going to put away. If you think about this, when we were 22 years old, how many times did we waste $500-$600 a month when we were 22 years old?
Yeah. Crazy.
All the time. I remember. Yes, I remember 22 years old, right? I used to love going out partying. I used to get paid, and I used to go party on my friends. And I used to waste $100-$200 in the club. I mean, it was like every weekend. I was like when I was 22, I was like my version. What do you think about the future? My future was, what am I gonna do Friday night or Saturday night? That's as far as it went, right? But that's the wrong way to think. But if you were 22 years old, and if you put away you say, you know what, I'm gonna put $600 a month away. I'm just gonna sacrifice 7 years. So if you're 22, you put $7,000 a year away. And if you did that from the time you're 22 years old to you're 29 years old, right? I'm gonna stop. That's as far as it goes, and I'm gonna just let that money compound.
Mm-hmm.
Right? By the time I'm 65 years old, 67, I would have had $2.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
$2.5 million. So let's say if someone was 22 years old, they put, let's use like a Roth IRA, for example. They put this and put $7,000 in a Roth IRA. I'm going to do that from 22 to 29, and I'm going to stop. I'll never add a dime. I won't take the money. I will never add any more after 29. I am done. And if you just let that money grow with compound interest, at 29, by the time you're 67, you would have $2.5 million. Right? Now that's our first column. Let's say individual B says, I'm 22. I'm too young. I can't think. I'm not worried about. I'm not going. Think about it. They only contributed $56,000 of their own money. That $56,000 turned to $2.5 million. Let's say they decided, I'm 22 right now, right? I'm not gonna put in money. I need to party. I need to enjoy myself. I'm too young to start, right? And say, you know what? I'm gonna wait till I'm 20. So check this out. The second person waited till they're 29, 30 years old. That's when they start contributing. I'm gonna start when I'm 30. But guess what? They would have to put that $7,000 every single year from 30 to 67 just to have what? Almost the same.
Yeah.
So they would have to contribute about $266,000 of their own money, where the first person said 22 and 29, I'm done. That's the power of compound interest. That's the power of starting early. See, compound interest. Listen, Albert Einstein, which was not a financial guy, right? Albert Einstein was a physicist. I always have problems saying that word, right? He was a genius. He said compound interest is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. Mm-hmm. Right? So the reason I'm sharing that, because a couple things. Two lessons learned here. Number one, you need to have your money work hard for you. You need to understand, sit down with someone to understand how you get your money to work for you. That's the first lesson. The second lesson, you need to start early. It doesn't matter how old you are. The earliest you start,
the better. And parents, mom and dads who are listening right now, where we're at right now, but let's think about our kids and have them, go with them to visit Bernard and take care of business for real. This is some serious stuff.
Absolutely. We teach our kids, start early. Start putting money. Start putting money. My son works in law firms. Listen, you don't need money. You're making decent money. Invest your money. Invest your money early. Start putting your money early. It makes a huge difference over a period of time. It's so important. See, listen, everybody said what you don't know doesn't hurt you. When it comes to money, what you don't know will definitely hurt you. When it comes to your money, you gotta understand how money works. You have to have your money work for you. You need to educate how money works. Okay, and that is so important. Check this out. There's about $1 trillion right now in the United States. There's over $1 trillion that are sitting in accounts that are earning less than 1% interest.
Mm-hmm.
There's $1 trillion earn accounts less than 1% interest. And to me, that's money that could be working, that someone could be using it to work for their future, to have your money work for you. So it's so important. So that's something we're going to cover. A lot of different things. Like, listen, next couple of weeks, we're going to cover, well, what's a mutual fund? How does a mutual fund works, right? We're going to cover that, and how a simple way to look at a mutual fund. We're going to cover also talk about IRAs, like tax deferred versus taxable, different IRAs, how all these things work. Very simple, because we want to educate to consumers, knowing how these things work, how to take advantage out there of the financial institutions, really get educated so they can have your money work hard for you. And we're actually gonna do something a little different next week. Next week we'll do something a little different. We're gonna do a little marriage and money, right? Marriage and money. My wife's gonna be, Eileen's gonna be joining me, right? So marriage. We're gonna talk like little pitfalls, little things to look for, especially when married couples, right? It's so important to be in sync, right? Especially, the world's complicated now. I think about when our parents were working, it was a simple world out there. It was was a lot simpler out there. Life was, I think, a lot better, a lot easier for parents, in other words. But now it's so complicated. I think back that there's, when you have, especially you have kids, they get married, and there's so many different moving parts out there, and there's so many factors going against the youth out there, even as couples out there. There's so many things we're fighting with. So we want to make sure that people are in sync, the things that they can do to kind of be in sync, so they can make sure that, because think about most relationships, right? Because of money, most relationships fall apart, unfortunately, because of challenges when it comes to money. So that's something we want to make sure we do our part, so people are educated. It's minor adjustments, but learn how to be in sync. Because think about it. A lot of people spend so much time, invested time and energy, research, invested in the wedding, but not on the marriage.
Yes.
Right. It's and the financial part of it is just as important. I said marriage. I mean, hours research, how to get the best deals, how to get this and that. But as far as when it comes to their money, that together is kind of very, very challenging,
Yeah. That's so good, Bernard, and then there's just certain things that you say that I'm like, man, that's a post. What you don't know, what I don't know won't hurt me. But when it comes to money, yes, it will. I'm posting that. That for sure, because a lot of us need to know that. And we'll do a flyer for next week. Marriage and money. I mean, the intro has a picture of you and your wife. We'll just grab that and say marriage and money coming up on the next Army Empire podcast, because I want to be able to post that, so my friends who are married, my married couples that are friends, can jump on and listen to this, so they can hear the wife's perspective and the husband's perspective on money.
And we're going to be very transparent. I mean, one thing, I believe in transparency, because listen, there's a lot of mistakes I made, a lot, because when you come in, when everybody comes in from a different perspective, and sometimes it creates kind of little roadblocks. So how to overcome those roadblocks, how to be able to work together, and to be able to kind of be in sync. And we're still under construction, right? We're still working at it. There's little things that we're still working, but the key is to acknowledge those pitfalls, those roadblocks, and be able to address them as early enough. Because I think there's a lot of questions that are not asked early enough, and that creates challenges in the future. So what you don't know in the beginning will come and will fast in the future. And that's something you want to be able in sync, even before, right? To be in sync. Yes.
Well, this was another great podcast. This was another great episode. Hopefully you took your notes. Was about to discover the rule of 72. Now we know what the rule of 72 is. Love it. And if you don't know, or you talk to somebody about the rule of 72 and they're like, what are you talking about? Send them right here to this episode, because did we learn about the rule of 72. Thank you so much, Bernard, for being such an amazing.
Also, Liz, I want to have an assignment for every single person, right?
Ooh, okay.
I want you to take a penny, right? Just one penny, right? And write a penny, and make sure the penny doubles every day for 30 days. And you'll understand how investing and a rule of 72 works.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Take a penny, right? If you take a penny, so let's say 0.1 cents, right? And it's gonna double day 2, 0.2, right? Then 0.4, 0.08, right? 0.16, 0.32. If you double it, if you just write it down, double every day for 30 days, and you'll see how much money that one penny doubling every day will amount to. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I want people to figure that out, and you understand. If you understand that concept, you'll understand how investing works. It seems like it's not growing. It's not. Then all of a sudden, you're gonna see, wow, huge jumps.
All right. So that's election day, November 5th, December 5th. We're gonna revisit the homework.
Absolutely.
Homework of the penny.
Absolutely. Let's see who did the homework, right? And no cheating. I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Bernard. We love you so much. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to share. We'll see you again next week, this exact same time. We'll see you. Have a good one. Bye.
Take care, guys. Have a great one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Army Empire podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends. Join us next week for another exciting edition, and until then, keep building your empire.